What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube, presented as always by Pure Options Precision Crafted Cannabis. You can sign up for the Pure Perks loyalty program at pureoptions.com. Earn points for every dollar you spend online or in person at any Pure Options location. Just go to pureoptions.com. You'll see the loyalty tab there as well. They got great deals going on throughout this month, especially this weekend with some bundling, some packages I love. Again, pureoptions.com, or if you're getting ready for the weekend, swing by any location throughout Michigan, in Lansing, in Muskegon, Mount Pleasant, Detroit, you name it. And let them know Couch and the Rube sent you. If you spend $50 or more, they'll give you a free 8 of ProGrow, a terrific in-house brand. Also, our Friday afternoon show, brought to you by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Download the app, bet the games we're betting. Some big soccer games this weekend that I'm going to be betting, and we'll get into that in just a second. Jason, how you doing, brother?
Big 10 plus his ass.
What's up, buddy? Are you drinking a craft beer over there? What is that?
No, it's a LaCroix, or it's not a LaCroix.
Oh.
It's a Kroger seltzer water. And a coffee.
Okay. Is that gross or what?
No,
what is that?
it's good.
What does a seltzer water do?
It's
for
like a
you?
bubbly. It's just a little more
I know I've
something
had
to
it, but I mean, like, what when you drink it during a show, what does it do for you?
Well, it's just water. I just drink it slower. It's like drinking a soda that's water. That's what it is.
Oh,
yeah.
So it keeps you from drinking soda, pop.
Too much. Yeah. It's just a slightly more refreshing, different style
All
of
right.
drink. Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. I was like, damn, dude, he's busting out July show. It's a Friday. Figured why not? Just a fake LaCroix.
I've thought
Isn't
about
LaCroix like $1 a piece? Like, why are you even going Kroger brand on that?
I don't know. My wife buys the groceries. I drink what's in the house. I have no concept
Val, all right,
of
that's
any
fair.
decisions that are being made.
Sorry about that. Makes sense now.
Do I look like a man who chooses his own food? I'm not allowed in the grocery store. Every time,
Of course you are with sushi.
Every time she sends me out, it's a 5-hour process. I get lost. I buy $200 for the stuff we don't need, and I eat $100 of it that night. So I've been basically relegated from that duty.
Do you have to go to like Whole Foods, or is it like just a regular?
No, we're not.
Whole Foods
We're not
is like a whole nother store.
I mean, I like Whole Foods. I like all those places, but we're more of a we're a Kroger, Meijer, Apple Market.
Where
type
you
of
live,
family.
you can't go to Whole Foods, right? Or you can.
I go
You
crossing
gotta stay pure to Michigan there.
crossing into Okemos is like a once a month thing. I put on some hazmat gear.
That's way
and-
too many times.
Yeah.
for me.
It's not. I don't like to do that.
Okemos
often.
is ass. I mean,
Well, there's no such thing. It's Meridian Township. I don't know. I
Right.
don't know what there is no such thing. It's a school district. I don't know where.
with a mall.
Yeah, I don't know where people thought Okemos didn't happen. There's no thing as Okemos.
Let's just talk about cities around us. What we think about
We
it.
actually have a question about that as we get in our Groovy Donut Twitter questions here momentarily. Before we get into anything else, though, what we are betting this weekend, presented by our friends at Firekeepers and the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Are you betting anything this weekend?
I tell you what, I won't be betting on is Paul Skeens to get a no-hitter, because apparently it's going to be impossible for any pitcher of any kind to ever get a no-hitter again. So I don't know whether I should stand tall and not bet baseball this weekend in protest.
Well,
or maybe I just shouldn't because I've been terrible at it the past couple of weeks. But
yeah, no,
I think I just might need some time off.
It is one of the things I absolutely hate. The idea that Paul Skeens from the Pittsburgh Pirates, if you missed it, was at 7 innings of no-hit ball.
Can I tell you my situation, though, yesterday real quick?
Yeah.
Is I saw that there was a Tigers update. So I'm like, oh, okay. Brought the TV out. I was going to put it on the deck. It was like the top of the 9th inning, right? I missed the whole game. So I was like, okay. I see Paul Skeens has a no-hitter going into the 7th. I'm like, fucking hey, this is what I pay $20 a month for the MLB package. Let me flip over to that game. It's a Pirates game. I never watch Pirates games. Oh, no. Wait. Is that Paul Skeens? That isn't Paul Skeens. There's a reliever in there. Wait, what? They pulled him. I just was like, what are we doing here? I understand the analytics and everybody. Like, I was listening to Dan Patrick this morning. I'm like, and he's like, oh, yeah, I would have pulled him. Why? I mean, I think there's a different kind of no-hitter, right? Like, he was mowing people down. And then, like, his I don't even, who's the manager of the Pirates?
I don't know, but he was at 99 pitches, I think, right? So,
he was at 99 with 11 strikeouts. He just had a 6-pitch inning. Like, that's a different kind of situation, I feel.
And they almost lost an important game because they pulled him. Yeah.
And we're talking about, the Pirates don't care about their investment, do they? They know that it's not an investment, really, because they're not going to have to pay him.
Well, so that's the thing. If you're going to do this and you're the Pirates,
right?
You're saying to your fans, if this guy becomes the god of pitching, we're spending $300 million to keep him.
You haven't had,
because otherwise you shouldn't care.
You haven't had a fun moment as a Pirates fan since Barry Bonds had a normal size head. And you can't even watch Paul Skeens go into the night, and he's going to start the All-Star game.
Well, hold on. Has Paul Skeens had Tommy John? Hold on.
No, he's too young. He's like 15 years old.
Well, most of those guys already have. Hold on.
I don't think he has.
Oh, he is not.
Right.
So he's got to have it anyway still. So he's going to miss a year and a half at some point in his career. You might as well get there anyway. Let him throw the no-hitter. No, but I mean,
did it work with Casey Mize? Have you played him with kid gloves? I mean, we haven't seen, before this season, hadn't seen him in a year and a fucking half. I mean,
in all seriousness, what I don't get about this is I understand watching young pitchers pitch counts for even games most of the time and certainly the course of a season. I understand that. You got the All-Star game. I know he's going to start the All-Star game, which is a big honor, but you do have time coming up. In a normal situation, have him skip a day or go. You want to win this game. He's 7 innings into a no-hitter. You almost lost a 1-0 game because the reliever gave up 2 hits initially. Have him skip a start. Have him go an extra day.
And Dan Patrick's argument was, well, what if he has a 20-plus pitch 8th inning? Well, pull him then if you want to, right? I mean, if you feel like you can pull him in the 7th inning, you can pull him in the 8th, and you can pull him in the 9th, I guess.
Yeah, if it makes sense. If his pitch count gets up in the 120s and you're like, we can't do this to a young guy, then pull him. I get it. To me, it's worth trying to have those moments in baseball unless you truly think you're dealing with somebody who's delicate, and that sucks because.
And I'm not saying we have to go back to the Nolan Ryan era where I understand he pitches. He's got no breaking ball or something, so he's just constantly pitching 102. I get it. All right. But when you're just mowing down teams like that, you got to let the kid go for it, at least for what are you telling your fan base? What are you telling people that are paying to watch this shit? People are they're bouncing on baseball. They don't want to watch baseball anymore.
I know.
So you're taking away the possibility of a no-hitter as well? It's like that's a team no-hitter. Who gives a shit?
That's the problem. If you're the Pirates, number one, you're probably not going to sign this guy anyway eventually. So who cares about his longevity? Number two, baseball is a sport where the postseason, if you ever do get there again, has nothing to do with the regular season. You'll probably lose anyway. Like, have a moment. Have a moment in the regular season. And a no-hitter is a moment. And they had an opportunity to have it. And, whatever. I disagreed with it.
Has there been a no-hitter this year? I don't remember one.
Probably, but maybe not. I felt like last year, they're like 4 pretty early. Well, yeah, so anyway.
All the stuff we look up.
Yeah.
Why do that?
Yeah, well, okay, hold on.
I am the passenger.
Come on.
And I ride.
Free Ubers.
I ride through the
Okay, yes. Ronel Blanco of the Houston Astros against Blue Jays. It was like opening day, but it's not since opening day.
Who?
Ronel Blanco?
Oh.
I don't know what the fuck he is.
It was so memorable.
It was. I think I do sort of remember it now that I say that. All right. So are you betting anything this weekend?
I'd love to bet Wimbledon. I tried to bet this morning with Carlos Alcaraz. I mean, that was a fun match to watch, but you can't gamble on it. Even when
not this late.
Even when Alcaraz went down the first set or whatever, it was still minus 150. So you can't really sprinkle or have any fun.
The best thing to do is parlay favorites that you when you know their matchups that they should win late in the week, because you can parlay 3 favorites and usually pretty safe. The first week is the better time to bet tennis when there are true mismatches, and if you understand styles and other things like that. It's really hard at this level. It really is.
And really, what else? I mean, Friday baseball goes on the All-Star break, right? So I have golf, Wimbledon I can't bet on. And I'm not going to gamble on soccer.
Well, soccer's got the huge gay Sunday. So Sunday you have it's one of the best.
What Sunday?
Huge day. What did I say?
You have huge gay Sunday.
Huge gay Sunday in soccer. It is that. But it's 3 p.m. Euros final, England Spain, and then the Copa America final at 8 o'clock between Argentina and Colombia. And I am betting both games. Obviously, the value to me, the best value though, is Colombia which is somehow an underdog against Argentina. People love Argentina. Messi's not even 100% healthy. He's kind of playing through some a groin injury, and Colombia's been the best team in the tournament for a while. They haven't lost a game. Now they've tied some, but they haven't lost a game in like 28 games. They were better than Brazil, even though they were an underdog. They're better than Argentina. They've been the best team in this tournament for a while. Now they've had a harder path. It's more arduous. They've just played. It was a rock fight against Colombia. After beating Brazil. I mean, Argentina just coasted through playing like Canadians every game. But still, Colombia should be an underdog. So plus 150 to lift the trophy. Colombia, I'm all over that Sunday night. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm a little on Spain, but I've got a future on Spain, so I'm not going to mess with that a ton. Both at the Firekeepers, Casino and Sportsbook app. I have Spain plus 825 to win the tournament. I got before the tournament. So they've been the best team in the field. They should beat England, but England keeps pulling things out. But definitely on Colombia over Argentina plus 150 on Sunday night on the Firekeepers Casino and Sportsbook app. I mean, I felt all of Fred Human. Are you ready to dig into these Groovy Donut Twitter questions?
Of course, man. Let's do it. Eric Schultz up first. Us fans complained for 2 years that Doug Wojcik isn't qualified to coach the Bigs, and Graham defends him every time. Then Windsor mentions how MSU needed a change, and Graham spends 5 minutes talking about how much he agrees and how much better it is now. Do I have that right?
Yes and no.
Windsor also offered to make you Bavarian pancakes or something.
He did.
Something like
he did
that too. So.
But it is not the first time I've talked about this. I mentioned it on at least a couple shows, and I believe alluded to it and talked about it in a couple columns of late as well. It is not the first time I've mentioned that. Now, to your first point, what I would say last year is, based on the information I had, that I didn't know that how much it would benefit the change, how much Doug Wojcik was the issue. And I still don't know to what degree he was the issue, right? I mean, he's not the problem when you're not defending certain guys in the post. But I do think, based on the information I have, that sort of a new voice, a softer voice, maybe a softer edge, a little more development focused with bigs, and something they're getting from Saudi is something that's welcomed. And we'll see if it helps. We'll see if it's a difference. I mean, it might just be on these guys, but I do think it could make a difference. I do think these guys like the vibes they're getting right now. And
are you saying Wojcik is like a hard ass?
Wojcik's very much a hard ass.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
He's very much a hard ass.
All right.
And I don't know if what this group needed was maybe not that.
Varsity softball dad, has your Moneyball Pro-Am talk convinced me? Has your Moneyball Pro-Am talk convinced me that a healthy Jaxon Kohler will be the key to a Final Four run, or am I delirious from the heat?
Yeah,
both.
Yeah. So the thing that I don't know what Jaxon Kohler will be this year. I think the thing that he missed out on, and MSU fans missed out on, their team missed out on last year, is seeing what a healthy, fit guy who was incorporated into the offense from the get-go would have been last year, with confidence, and somebody I think would have started the year as the starter. I think there's a decent chance he is the starter. They loved what he could have been next to Booker. Now, Booker wasn't really ready last year, and so I don't know what that would have meant. Booker obviously is going to be starting this year. I think Kohler will. This is the pairing they've wanted to see, and so we'll find out. Jaxon Kohler is not the biggest fella in the world. And the question is, defensively, how does that pairing work? Rebounding-wise, how good they are. I think Kohler was a pretty good rebounder late in the year, and he really figured out that was his ticket to staying on the floor. So to me, he's still an intriguing player because last year was sort of a lost season. But to what his ceiling is and to what he can do in platoon with Carson Cooper and how they use Xavier Booker and whether Booker spends any time at the 5, these are all questions that'll, the real question is when they're playing guys who are centers who are a bit of a force, a physical force, or at least really competent, strong centers, good rebounding centers, guys who can score around the bucket, can they hold their own? And can they win their share of the battles? And can Jaxon Kohler be a problem offensively for some of these guys? And these are things he's going to have to answer this fall.
Moneybag next. Excuse me. Is Xavier Booker a bad culture fit because he was taking it easy in Moneyball a few weeks ago when he was battling a small injury? I wasn't there, but some podcasters who also weren't there told me that. I need names.
Yeah. I hope this wasn't like me and Solari, because sometimes I black out for a while. We were, I know that feeling. I do not think Xavier Booker is a bad culture fit. I think he's a pretty good culture fit in terms of like 5-star guys who come in with a lot of hype. There are lots of guys who, when the situation doesn't turn as it pans out, they look for a different situation. That's never been Xavier Booker, which I think says he's a good culture fit. He's a thoughtful guy. We talked about this the other day in terms of answering questions and thinking about himself and his role. And I think Booker's a pretty good.
Is he a great family man?
I have no idea, but he's a better husband and father according to Hondo Carpenter than he is player.
Rich Kane next. Is there anything like the Moneyball Pro-Am elsewhere? Is it any kind of recruiting edge for MSU? Would Desmond Ferguson ever franchise the concept to other locations? And is Desmond related to Joel?
I don't believe.
Aren't we all?
So yeah, in this, yeah.
Oh,
but to the point on, there are lots of Pro-Ams. There's a Pro-Am in Chicago. I used to cover it in college. One in Flint for a long time. The famous one in Detroit was a St. Cecilia forever. Most NBA, a lot of NBA cities, LA, Seattle, big Pro-Ams. Now, for a city the size of Lansing, though, it is something that is not readily done. And, because the real thing you have to get is you have to get the basketball team at the university on board, because that's the key to people showing up. Now, I'm working on a piece and just actually filed it today, and I think it's running in like a week on it's 20 years since Desmond Ferguson sat down with Tom Izzo with this idea, and he had gotten it from playing in the St. Cecilia League in Detroit and knew what he wanted to do. They weren't going to have the pros that the St. Cecilia had, tons of NBA guys in that league, but he knew if there was enough talent around, and if he could get the Izzo on board and the MSU guys, that they'd have something. And Izzo was all for it right away. And if that conversation goes differently, there's no Moneyball Pro-Am. But Izzo said his guys would play. But back then, I mean, if you look at the guys who were around, I'm just going to give you a few. Like, this is who was playing in year one in 2004. And this is not to count the MSU guys, which was still Paul Davis, Allen Anderson, Chris Hill, freshman Drew Neitzel, Goran Sutan, those guys. But you had just Lansing dudes, right? You had Brent Scott, been an Everett legend, played in the NBA, was overseas. Carl and Charles Thomas, who'd each touched the NBA themselves. You had East Lansing's Thomas Jackson, Ron Banks, my hero, DeQuarius Stewart from Sexton, who had just finished playing professionally that year in Mexico. Justin Ingram was MAC Freshman of the Year that year. Levi Ross from St. John's was a really good player at Western Michigan. Ben Reed, star from Battle Creek, who was at Western. Mateen Cleaves came down when the Flint Pro-Am was on hiatus. You had a lot of local dudes of real talent in Lansing at the time, plus you had the MSU guys. So he saw an opening, and Desmond was at the prime of his career too, and had just finished playing with the Portland Trailblazers, and it was sort of his cup of tea in the NBA, and was looking for not just something he wanted to provide for Lansing, but a great off-season run, competitive games where he didn't have to go play in a Pro-Am somewhere else and travel, and he was able to get people on board here, and a lot of people like Desmond, and so other players wanted to play in it. And so it's something that could work a lot of places, but you need certain dynamics. You need the coach on board at the university, and you need a guy who wants to run it, who has the cachet to get players and is also respected by the coach, like an Izzo. And Izzo recruited Desmond Ferguson when he was at Everett a little bit. Now, they had in Izzo's first class, which was 95, that was Desmond Ferguson's graduating year. Jason Klein and Morris Peterson were already there, and so Desmond decided to go elsewhere. But they've known each other forever. They respected each other, and so it worked. There are a lot of dynamics that have to be in play, but there are other Pro-Ams all over the country.
Professor, what would your reaction be if the Lions missed the playoffs next season? Is this like a real question, or is it because last show we were gushing about how great it is to be a Lions fan?
No, but
Professor just wants to shit on your parade.
So say they go 9-8, and
something happened. There's an injury. They're one of the top 5 best teams in pro football, and they're going to be there in the end if people want to hate that or not, unless there's barring injuries, obviously.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's going to stop this team is injuries.
I think the most interesting thing this season for the Lions, to me, is how they compare to the Green Bay Packers and their ascension and Jordan Love and all that.
Yeah, we went there and we did that. We showed them who's boss. I'm not scared of Green Bay.
They did the same. They did the same thing on Thanksgiving Day the other way, and then they looked really good.
Yeah,
in the
but we had an
postseason.
off day.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Core foundation, man.
You may have.
I want to hear this shit.
You may have two teams in their window in the same division. I think it's going to be very
I'm
interesting
ready
to see.
for this ride, man.
And if there's a moment where all of a sudden the Lions don't look like the better of the two teams, that'll get interesting.
Core foundation, man. Grit.
Yep. Hell yeah. Let's go. David Jackson, are the Tigers back? Is it time to call firekeepers and bet on the Tigers to make the postseason? No. Because that's why we hate them even more, is because they're hard to gamble on.
Yeah, and what
You can never tell.
And now that they've benched or sent Kenneth Maeda to the bullpen, they're almost irrelevant completely. Maeda was the key to this whole season. He was what you could bet against.
Still have Javi Baez, so he's a wild card to have anything go wrong.
I will, like, if the Tigers are playing better, they're hitting a little better. They just played well in 2 series against good teams and obviously beat the Indians.
Sorry, the Guardians.
The Guardians.
How dare you?
Apologies.
Canceled.
Yeah. But what's coming up this weekend before the All-Star break, so they do play all weekend, and this might be a great time to bet against them. And if they win this weekend, then maybe there's something for real. But they play the Dodgers at home all weekend. Really legit
Something
team.
for real?
So, well,
Yeah.
if they win 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, then maybe they are going to be a 500 team. But they're only 5 games below 500 right now. Maybe they are going to be it.
I hope Riley Green's in the home run contest. You going to do that? That'd be fun.
Then they come back. It's Blue Jays they should beat. But then they got the Guardians again, Twins. I mean, they get Guardians, Royals. I mean, a lot of division stuff.
Yeah, but the division's decent.
I know, that's the problem. So
We used to talk about these teams like they were complete ass, but this year's different.
it's a pretty difficult schedule down the stretch. You get some stuff late that's not so bad with the A's and White Sox mixed in, but it's not a.
Wait till next Wednesday till we go through the Tigers' rest of their schedule, game by game.
Yeah, look
Next
forward to that
Wednesday,
Wednesday. Write that down.
David Jackson. Is Cooper Flagg the best amateur basketball player on the planet? If he had signed with MSU, would Flagg ride the bench because of poor defense?
Izzo benching Cooper Flagg.
And we said, would somebody please guard somebody?
Cooper Flagg would fit a category of player. Miles Bridges, Gary Harris, guys that Izzo truly understands have to be treated slightly differently, and are treated slightly different.
Hey,
now,
Coach, why didn't you yell at him? What happened?
Now Harris was a great defender, and Bridges was more often than not an attentive defender, although he had some times. But yeah, Cooper Flagg would is he the best amateur basketball player? He looks good. I only see the scrimmage videos, and I mean, yeah, but he looks like a 17-year-old who's not scared of anybody. And I certainly, if the Pistons landed him, it would not be a bad.
That
deal.
will never get the number 1 pick again. Never happened. David Jackson, Aikens aside, who would win an NBA-style 3-point shooting contest if the team had one? And why must the answer be either Fidler or Holloman?
That's a good. I mean, I don't know that because it's a little bit different skill too than shooting during a game. But because there's an argument that a guy like Xavier Booker is as pure a shooter as anybody on that team, and pulling a ball off a rack, he might be the best. So I don't know that, but I would. In terms of pure shooting, Fidler looks pretty pure, but Booker, I'm telling you, I would not count Booker out of that specific scenario.
All right, David, in your last episode, are you aware that your gushing comments on Frankie Fidler sounded almost exactly what was being said about Joey Hauser before he ever played a game for MSU? That's why we said it.
You know, I would have to go back and listen to those comments, but
Best shooter since Bird.
to be fair about Joey Hauser, I think he was. I mean, I think what happened to Joey Hauser was between the years, and so unless Frankie Fidler, who's had a longer career already and is coming to Michigan State for 1 year, has those sort of confidence issues at some point, which it could happen.
But the transfer with Hauser, though, that's what took forever. People were just like,
Well, he sat out a year, and
Right.
yeah, but he was really promising as a freshman at Marquette, and I think he was promising in practice that year he sat out, and then he was one of those guys, and he was affected by COVID and the isolation more than anybody. Really lost his mojo. You saw it late though what he became, and I think that's what they thought they were going to get from him more often. I think that's a special case. So I don't think, if Frankie Fidler is as a senior in his only year at Michigan State, what Joey Hauser was, obviously they're a little bit different players, in his final year at Michigan State, then that's ideal. That's why he was a 14-point scorer and like a 40% 3-point shooter, hit big shots, and was dialed in all the time at the end. That would be ideal. And so if those two things are the same, that's great. Now, you hear us gushing about Moneyball. Moneyball is essentially Christmas in July. You know what else has Christmas in July? Groovy freaking donuts. Christmas in July sale going on right now. They're including merch and whole bean coffee, 25% off. Go to groovydonuts.com/products. There's a discount code, Xmas in July. Xmas in July is the discount code. Christmas in July this weekend with the products. And, Groovy Donuts any time of year. Whatever you're doing, whether you're just chilling at home with some pure options, whether you've got an event, whether you're at the beach. If you've got to go to a gathering on a lake and you show up with Groovy Donuts, you're the hero. You're the best. So groovydonuts.com, either location, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., Thursday through Sunday, Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing, and also in Williamston.
Suburban Spartan Dad next. Do we need George Clooney to write an op-ed imploring Tom Izzo to prioritize starting caliber big men in the transfer portal next year? It feels like this strategy might be working. Who in the state of Michigan, who is the state of Michigan's George Clooney? Jeff Daniels? Do we need Jeff Daniels to write one?
Jeff Daniels writing to Tom Izzo that would be hilarious, actually. Yeah, we'll see what this year brings. The thing that's interesting about their big situation is
coach my team.
Like Kohler and Cooper are juniors, and obviously you have to recruit and develop. You'd like to have somebody when they're seniors who's a freshman in there. And obviously they have Jesse McCulloch, but you'd like to have another guy. And but it'll be interesting to see what they are this year and whether that becomes. I mean, the thing is, after last year, when they weren't good enough at the center position, and that hurt them dearly, and they didn't change a ton, knowing what he's going to do with that position and how he's going to bet on different guys win is hard for me to predict.
Andrew Zawiza next. Will Deion Sanders make it to coaching at the highest level, college or pro? Well, he's got to learn how to treat players better, right?
He's already coaching at the highest level of college. I mean, he's coaching at Colorado, which is like high major D1. But you're talking about like,
but it's a stepping stone job, though. It's not like he's going to stay there for 20 years.
I don't think it works. I don't think what he does works unless he learns and adapts, which I wouldn't put past him. I mean, he was really effective at one level down, and he's a bright guy, and I think he's a good football mind, and I think he does certain things well. But you cannot run off the offensive lineman he ran off and
the way he did it.
Yeah. You can't do that and compete at the college game. You need to build through your lines, and I think I would bet if he had to do it over again, there's some guys he would have been a little more careful about how he did that.
Like if you were the parents of one of the kids, like on the video of him talking to the players like that, right? You're just going to be like anti-Deion Sanders forever. This is bullshit. Andrew Zawiza. Chris Kapilovich is now Bama's O-line coach. What did he show at MSU to land that?
Yeah, but there are lots of guys who move. Like he was well regarded when he showed up at MSU, and for a while was well regarded for the work. You're right; there have not been the results. And I don't think some of that's been recruiting, and some of it's just been they have not, multiple line coaches now have not been able to get that thing going. I don't know how much of it was his fault. It didn't work. He was unable to get it. They had some health issues here and there, but that's every program. That he's still well regarded. That's what it is. I mean, these guys aren't total shit. I mean, he didn't just turn to total shit when he showed up at Michigan State. It just didn't work here.
Zawiza, thoughts on 96 NCAA tournament teams with 32 first-round buys?
I hate it. A couple things. Number one, you can't do a bracket. I understand people don't print stuff out as much anymore, so it's a little more doable. But the bracket is 64, and the 68 we scribble in there, but it doesn't really matter, right? You're not going to get any more money. The reason this stuff's going to get paused is getting paused right now is it's going to cost more, and I'm not sure you're going to get more revenue out of this. You're not going to add weeks to it, I don't think. So you're going to squeeze in extra games that week. it's going to make it's just a mess. And nobody wants this. I've never seen anything like this since Joe Biden stayed in the race, where nobody wanted something, and yet it's just going to happen. And like nobody wants more than, I guess you could add a few more teams here and there and sort of a couple more plans, and you could figure that out right. But people like the NCAA tournament. They like what we have. It's the best thing in college sports. And they're going to screw it up. And it's unbelievable. And it ought to be the first line of the obituary who's a part of screwing this up. And their children's obituary. It's messed up. You do not screw this up. I do not understand why it's going to happen. It's not even, as far as I can tell, going to bring in a ton more money. What it is going to do is help more big schools get in the tournament, and that's why they're pushing for this.
Corey Ostrom, why are people who think they have money such assholes, while people that do have real money are so down to earth? Because they think they have money, so they really don't. So they know they don't, so they're assholes. But the people that really have money, they really have it.
I think there are some assholes who really have money too.
Oh, well, yeah. You think?
Know? How many people out there think they
Chris
have money
Illich.
but don't?
Oh.
Like how dumb do you have to be to not have money
and act like you do?
I guess
It's a common thing.
Yeah.
People want to act like they have certain things.
Well, it's like when you had your $43,000 in a
I was the
duffel
richest
bag.
motherfucker on the planet, dude.
So if people
I
don't
thought
know
I
this,
could do anything.
it was 2 weeks, duffel bag, $43K after an injury settlement.
Well,
right?
the story has gotten out of hand. I didn't have the bag all the time in my car. I just drove around for 2 days with the bag. I just put it under my driver's seat. 43K in cash.
Well,
it was $30K in cash. The rest was on a check because they wouldn't let me leave with the $43K. They said, we have to give you a check of some sort. So I'm like, all right, fine. Whatever you got to give me. I was in the back room. It's downtown here.
Did you have a savings or checking account at the time?
I think so. I want to believe. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did. No, I didn't, actually. I don't think I did. Because of that, I think after the 2 days, I ended up going to, I know I was a member of Bank of America after that. So
okay.
I think it might have been after or something. Then I tried going to some financial advisor to do something right with the money, and that was whatever. He was telling me that I could invest $10,000, couldn't touch it, and then it would gain this amount of interest. And I was like, dude, I could drive to Mount Pleasant and try to make that interest. Like, what are you talking about? That's the investment strategy? What are we doing here? I got to gamble.
That is a story we're telling, as always, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. You're looking for a date night this weekend, a place to watch the Euro final on Sunday, trivia next week, brunch on Sunday. It's just an awesome environment. Also, a dog-friendly patio there on Washington Avenue. Real cool setup, unbelievable menu, something for everybody, lighter things, heavier things, great beer selection, including my favorite, the American Stout. So give that a shot if you are there. It is the best stout beer.
I really think everybody should experience having like $40K just for a couple of days. Like you can just like you feel. I don't know. It's the stupidity that helps me, but you know what I mean. I just like I understand I couldn't buy whatever I want, but it just feels like you could walk into a store like shit. I could buy pretty much anything in here. It's a great feeling. It's going to be done.
I mean, yeah. A lot of people could do that with a credit card or.
It's not as fun, dude.
It's not as fun?
I'm telling you.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
There's a lot more risk when you have your net worth on you at all times. Corey Ostrom, what MSU basketball player has you most carefully excited to watch next season?
Well, most intrigued.
Coen Carr. Go ahead.
Most intrigued is Frankie Fidler, just because, I'd seen a lot of highlights of him. I'd watched a lot of highlights after he joined Michigan State, and then to watch him at Moneyball. At the Pro-Am, you want to see how much of that translates. What's real? I mean, I think there are a lot of things about his game that are real, but at the high major level, how he impacts everybody else on the floor. So I'm very intrigued by him. But this is a team full of guys like that. Like, I'm very curious to see what Jeremy Fears Jr. looks like. I'm very curious about Xavier Booker. I'm very curious about Jaxon Kohler. I mean, this is a team of curiosity. It really is. Can Jaden Akins in a different role be an impactful player? Like last year, you sort of knew what a lot of these guys were, and everybody's hoping together there was a ceiling that you hadn't seen, and there wasn't. But this year, I think there's curiosity up and down the board.
Corey Ostrom, Why am I so comfortable with Jonathan Smith's recruiting? 3 stars and all.
I think it has something to do with just feeling like these guys aren't going to decommit, right? They're 3-star kids who, it's not like they don't have some other offers, and they'll probably lose some, but it feels like a safer. And
Should we ask Hondo why he feels safer with Jonathan Smith over Mel Tucker?
Yeah, good.
No,
good. It felt like before it was a more of a roller coaster, more of a thrilling ride, and some of those guys didn't stick around. And I think there's also a sense, and I could be wrong on this, but I think I'm trying to sense what you sense, is that people trust that Jonathan Smith has done this before, knows how to do it, and they trust that he understands the level and the type of player he has to recruit. There are some people they're after in the next class that seem to be a little more heralded, and so maybe they're just trying to build a foundation here. Maybe they've identified and really like these guys, and I'm not doubting that they like the guys they've gotten so far.
I think it helps that Jonathan Smith is boring. Like, he's a football guy, he's boring, and that's what you need. No side frills or whatever, What does Jonathan Smith do in his free time? Who gives a shit?
I think people
Let's be a head coach. It's all we need.
I think there's a trust of him that people have.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Matt C., can you name a player that looked good in Moneyball that had it translate into the season? I honestly can't, but Carr's dunks are fun.
Well, so what you're looking for is a player that you didn't think was good the year before that then has a Moneyball and then is good. Because there are lots of guys. I mean, Miles Bridges showed up in 2016, was really good in Moneyball, and wound up being a really good player and put 33 up in the first exhibition game, right? There have been all sorts of that. Nick Ward showed a lot right away in Moneyball and then showed a lot as a freshman. There have been those guys, Jaren Jackson Jr., there are lots of really good players.
But those guys are ballers, though. Like,
correct.
They're going to come.
Correct. So good,
up.
But it translates. You see what translates because they're good players. And there have been examples of guys who have, I think it's a smaller thing. I talked about the Carson Cooper thing the other day, where Carson Cooper, I had no idea what to expect. Thought he might be a stiff who was going to redshirt, spins over a guy and dunks. Was he ready for Division I Big Ten basketball at that moment? No, but he wound up being a guy in the middle of his freshman year who made an impact. And you could see the makings of that possibility over the summer. You'd see it better if you were watching practice instead of the Pro-Am. And sometimes I will say these games, like 2 of the 3 games the other night, got competitive and defensive-minded late as teams were trying to win close games. When Frankie Fidler started hitting a bunch of shots, Trey Holloman was like, screw that. I'm picking him up. I'm the one who's going to guard him. Now, he still scored some buckets, but all of a sudden there was a defensive challenge that was made out there. To answer your question, I'm just trying to go back through the years of like a guy who was
Need some Hoff?
really, really good. And
or some Lats?
Well, I'll give you an example of a guy we'll watch this year that I think will be a good role player and will hit shots. Will be Garrick Normand. Like, he's a guy who's hitting shots. I'm not saying he's going to be more than a role player. I'm not saying he's going to start. I think he's going to be a 12 to 16 minute a game guy. But I think he's going to hit some important shots, and I think he's offensively going to be pretty decent. And I think you're seeing that at Moneyball. So hold me to account on that.
Matt C., do you think Jonathan Smith hates Michigan enough yet, or does he need to learn it after the first game? I love the hire, but it's only the only thing that concerns me about the hire.
You've had too many donuts, Matt.
Wrong one.
I'm not talking about Michigan.
That's what I get for hitting it blindly. Sorry.
Yeah, he probably doesn't hate Michigan enough yet. I mean, that's one of those things you think you have to endure, right? And the other thing is, it's not even Harbaugh who's there right now. It's a new coach who probably hasn't even.
But how do you do it without living it? At least a little bit, right?
Yeah,
you come in fresh. You would play like a hype video of past games. Like, you just have to, have your own team or actually, you can call Jordan. I'm sure that he would hate Michigan about 5 minutes after that phone call. So
and Harbaugh would have a way to get under your skin.
Right.
I don't know if Sharon Moore have the same thing. Like, I do wonder if the Michigan State rivalry to Izzo would feel any different if John Beilein had been there from 1983 until now. In other words, if he had never dealt with the Bill Frieder era when he was an assistant, if he had never dealt with the Fab Five era, if he had never dealt with anything else, if it had just been Beeline, who Izzo really liked personally, what the contention will feel like. So, like, what if these two coaches get along real well? But it'll come, because the thing that every coach tells you, and Jonathan Smith has said this, is you get reminded of this rivalry every day you're the head football coach at Michigan State. You live it through your own fans, and you understand pretty quickly that how they feel about you is going to come down to how you do on this rivalry. I mean, the thing D'Antonio did before the Rose Bowl, I've talked about this before, he flipped the script on that rivalry. He had control of it. They win in 08. They win in 09. They win in 2010. Right? They win in 11. They lose in 12. I think I got that right. They win 4 of 5 before they even go to the Rose Bowl.
Enough time for all of that.
And all of a sudden, everybody is, and maybe they didn't. I'm blanking a little bit here, but anyway, he had flipped the script on the rivalry, and that bought him time. It made people feel a certain way about him. He had fixed that. And if you have some level of ownership or control of that rivalry, you can take your time on everything else. People will feel okay if they can go to work and not deal with the Jordan in their lives.
Well, Tucker, he kind of flipped it for a second.
He did, and
got a big payday, and then
it helped him. It did. It would have helped him. Even his early wins would have helped him had things not gone the way they did. Would have still helped him.
Matt C. Why do you guys keep 69ing Malik Hall? His leadership will be missed. If he was a leader, he led MSU to the worst 4-year stretch in the Izzo era. This upcoming team will be light years better without the dead weight of Hogard, Hall, and Mahdi. I see, Matt. See, here's the thing: we have to be positive at some points in the show. Like, I know that you'd want us to fire negatives all show. We're trying to be positive at some point, And you have to admit, though, Malik Hall, his mentality coming in with younger guys, just having that senior leadership would be nice.
I like Malik Hall. I like Malik Hall a lot, and I think he was a good leader. I think what he was he wasn't a player. He was a good player, but he wasn't somebody whose game could elevate those around him. He wasn't somebody who could take over games, and that had its limitations. And then he was trying to lead A.J. Hogard, which is good. I mean, I would love to see Michael Jordan lead A.J. Hogard. You know what I mean? Like, it is not – I don't think it's all that easy. I don't think he was a bad leader. I don't think he was a great vocal leader. I don't think he's somebody who's had the ability to take over games, but I think he was a good leader at times. I think he was somebody who led through example. I think he's somebody you could win with him on your team, could win a lot, could win huge with him on your team. He needed to be one step down the peg in terms of, like, he needs to be your third, fourth guy on a really winning team, not your second guy. And that's sort of what he became last year. And I think he'd serve this team well. Would he start this year? Not over Xavier Booker, I don't think. But would he serve this team well? Absolutely. I think certainly Mahdi Sissoko, yes. I mean, we've talked about this, not to shit on Mahdi, but they're better off. The less he played, the better they got last year. And the fact the coaches didn't see that drove me insane. And A.J. Hogard, it was just time, without question.
Travis Maynard, who leads MSU hoops next year in these stats? You want to go one by one?
Sure.
All right, let's go. Scoring.
Give me Aiken slightly, but it's going to be one of those years similar to 2 years ago in terms of scoring, where you had 3 guys averaging about, in the 12 to 14 range. So there's nobody way out in front. But give me Aiken slightly.
Rebounds.
Well, that's a good question. Give me Fidler.
Fouls.
Aloysius Anaganye in the team.
Carson Cooper.
Cooper, probably.
Yeah. Field goal percentage.
That'll be somebody who shoots only around the basket. Probably Cooper. We missed 3-pointers made.
3-pointers made. Sorry.
3-pointers made. Give me Aikens.
Chewed out by Izzo.
Also Aikens. And
somebody please guard somebody.
Yeah, probably Aikens.
Socially panned by unhinged idiots on Twitter.
So who's the person who's going to take the most abuse? Who do you think?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, I want to say Fidler. That was my first one that popped in my head. But
I think people are going to like him. I mean,
but
he's got a.
What I'm scared of is what David Jackson mentioned. We talked about is the hype train.
Yeah,
because
but
I already want to go. Should we just stop talking about Frankie Fidler for maybe like 2 weeks or something? Because I feel bad because we're going to start Because, I mean, when's the season? A couple months. So.
But I've said 12 points, 5 rebounds. I don't think that's overhyping the guy. I think that's what he is. No,
I understand that. But I'm saying people, you're not overhyping per se, but I'm saying people get their mentality gets like, okay, this kid is going to be our savior, kind of like the Hauser kind of thing. So
it could be Akins if he doesn't live up to what people are hoping he is, because he's in a bigger role and he's wanted this role, and people can get frustrated with him. The big guys could take it too if they're just not. It'll be those will be my best guys. People like Fears. Trey Holloman's a hard. If you don't like Trey Holloman, you're just an ass. And so I think
Carson Cooper then.
I think
Kohler. Actually, let me change it. Kohler.
Well, the big guys is a whole. I think it have a chance if they don't do what they need to do defensively and rebounding, and then Akins, if he isn't they need Akins Akins needs to shoot at a decent percentage. If he can do that, I think he'll be okay.
It has to be the bigs, right? Because Izzo didn't really go grab one, so he's bringing back his guys again. I just think,
but people will be mad at them, but they will be mad at Izzo. Izzo's actually the answer here. If those guys aren't good, it'll be Izzo. Izzo will be the one that gets socially panned.
All right, Stephen Whitico. What are the border cities, towns, townships of the greater Lansing area? Specifically, is Charlotte more greater Lansing than St. John's?
I think they're both equally greater Lansing. In other words, and I say this as somebody who works at the LSJ in terms of like important high school coverage areas to us and what we consider purely us, nobody else. Like Charlotte and St. John's are just us. We don't share them with any other market. They are us. So I would say those are if you're looking to say it over a friend, but Charlotte and St. John's to me are equal. So, yeah.
All right, Caitlin Clarkstan, what's the best sports documentary you've ever seen? Mine is Andre the Giant on HBO. Interesting.
What is yours?
I mean, the best ever is the OJ documentary, the 9-part one or the Bulls one. But I mean, like for me personally, I love any Bad Boys documentary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think there's a difference between best and favorite. And
they're all good. I always fall any sports documentary. I always fall into whatever. I mean, if it's not soccer or something. Right?
The 30 for 30s really raised the bar on that stuff. One of my favorites, and I would urge people they haven't seen it. It doesn't get mentioned a lot because I agree on the Bad Boys stuff, and obviously Last Dance was great, and there's been lots of great ones. The Jordan Rides the Bus is phenomenal about this minor league time. Once Brothers with Drazen Petrovic and Vlade Divac is a 2010 30 for 30 that is just fantastic, and their friendship that was sort of split by war, and then Petrovic, died in a car accident. And Divac, it's narrated by Vlade. I mean, it's Vlade trying to make amends for this chasm in their relationship by war that, and then his friend died before he could do it. It's just really powerful. I'm getting tingly goosebumps and my hair raising just thinking about it. I mean, it's that good. Once Brothers would be the one that I would suggest.
Good Lord. All right. Caitlin Clarkstan, what's stopping Graham from giving up on this writing shit and actually making a difference by running for Lansing mayor?
Yeah.
It's a good point.
It's a fair question. But
here's the question. Why would Graham want to get into politics? What, to help people? I mean, okay. Other than helping others.
I think 2029 is the earliest I would run for that because that's the next, right? Is that the next mayoral year that would fit? Yeah, so I'm obviously not doing it this year. So 2029 would be my go-to year if it was going to happen.
Hopefully we're still doing this show, am I right?
Then we just do an update. Instead of doing like press conferences, I'd be like, just listen to Couch in the Room. Just listen.
I get to bust the mayor's balls for 2 hours. It's great. Caitlin Clarkstan, Jason, rank your favorite golf majors 1 through 4. I've got Masters, the Open, U.S. Open, and PGA. See, the Open to me is last.
Is it?
Yeah, because a lot of the times, like, it's somewhere where I got to wake up at 5 in the morning or some shit. So, I mean, it's still a great tournament. I'm going 4. I'm going PGA 3, U.S. Open, and then the Masters, number 1.
Yeah, so the Masters is 1 for me, too, because it hits like when spring hits. It's right after the Final Four. Like, it's just a fun tournament. I do
love the U.S. Open, though, too.
So do I. And the PGA, I could probably pay attention to it more. They probably were right to move it to May, but I would put the PGA last. I think it goes Masters, U.S. Open. I like the Open. I don't mind getting up early. I think it's kind of fun. You do gambling-wise, you have to be on your toes and get your bets in the night before. But I would
forget that.
I'm I'm totally with you. Let's take a real quick break. We come back, more of your Groovy Donut Twitter questions. Couch in the Rube, presented by Pure Options, precision crafted cannabis, and our friends at Firekeepers Casino and Firekeepers Casino and Sportsbook app.
Hey, sports fans, are you tired of the same old routine? Looking for a way to unwind after a long day? Look no further than Pure Options, the premier destination for all of your cannabis needs in Lansing, Detroit, Muskegon, and Mount Pleasant. Whether you're cheering for the Lions, Spartans, or the Wolverines, Pure Options has everything you need to elevate your game day experience. Mention Couch the Rube when you visit Pure Options and get a Pro Grow 8th with a $50 purchase. It's our way of saying thank you for being a loyal listener. Swing by Pure Options today and elevate your cannabis experience to a whole new level. Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite, Podcast Addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Pure Options, precision crafted cannabis, where cannabis meets community. Pure Options is here for us. They're here in mid-Michigan. They're here around the state. They do care. They sponsor great events, great community events all the time. And if you want to support us, you can do so by supporting them. Go to pureoptions.com. Check out the location nearest you. Swing on by, and trust me, it's not like they have a product people don't want. So and we're not, they're not selling broccoli here. All right, this is, well, they are in a certain sense, but it may look like broccoli. It's not broccoli. Don't eat it like broccoli. Again, pureoptions.com. Locations throughout the state, including 3 right here in Lansing, Mount Pleasant, Muskegon, Detroit, and if you spend $50 or more, a complimentary free 8th of ProGrow, terrific in-house brand. If you let them know Couch and the Rube sent you. Today's show also presented by our friends at Firekeepers and the Firekeepers Casino and Sportsbook app. More Groovy Donut Twitter questions.
You sounded like me when I tried to buy weed at QD back in the early 2000s. Hey, guys, got any broccoli? You know what I mean?
Wait a sec. Mm-hmm. Did you have like a connect there? Or what
no,
was the deal?
No. That's why I didn't smoke weed, because I wasn't cool enough to have people like, you know what I mean? Like I looked like a narc. I probably sounded like once. I just wasn't cool enough to get weed. That's why it's so great. You can just walk into stores and talk to people.
So wait, you walked into QD thinking you were they might have weed.
No, I didn't walk in there. There was we lived in an area where our QD, there was entrepreneurs outside. So you would go outside. You wouldn't go indoors.
And you asked for
QD.
broccoli and they wouldn't sell it to you?
No, I said trees.
Okay.
I called it trees. I was just kind of, there was some embellishment. I never said fucking broccoli, dude. Hey, you guys got any broccoli? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Another story worth telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing.
I just wanted to be cool. That's it.
Yeah, no,
that was my only goal.
It's fair. You got a date this weekend. You're, just chilling, having some broccoli. I think they do have some sort of broccoli on the menu, but it's tastier than regular broccoli. They do it right. An unbelievable kitchen there at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing.
Sunshine Spartans, who will win Big Ten in football this year?
Oregon, I think, has got a chance, but I would say Ohio State. I think this is Ohio State team that's the thing will be the quarterback play. They bring in a big transfer quarterback. Like, are they? If that position lets them down, they might have a problem. But they seem to have brought in a number of guys, and they're revved up after what's happened with Michigan the last couple of years. I don't think Michigan will be as good. And the question I have for Oregon, even though I think they're going to be pretty loaded, is when they keep having to make those trips east week after week. Like, hold on, let me look up the Oregon football schedule. Give me 1 second.
Off.
I see the stars come out of the sky. Yeah, the bright and hollow sky.
All right, so Oregon gets, and again, there's a conference championship game. Oregon gets, they're at Oregon State. Okay, they're at UCLA, host Michigan State. They're good through there. Then they host Ohio State. So they're actually home for Ohio State October 12th. But then they'll come east for Purdue. Then they host Illinois, east for Michigan. They on the road, host Maryland, east for Wisconsin, and then host Washington. It's not that bad, actually. It's just 3 trips, really. Yeah.
I was so caught off guard when they who do you think will win the Big Ten? You're like, Oregon. And I was like, wait, what? Oh, right. Got a whole bunch of people.
Money's probably on Ohio State, but Oregon would be the other one.
Weird. Sunshine Spartan, how worried are you about the Lions' love out there? All the Lions' love out there. I love it.
You don't mind it?
No.
Okay.
No, what are you supposed to do about it? I mean, people were doing it last season when commentators and everybody was blowing the Lions. It was like, wait, what? But now it's like, all right, I don't blame them. We're good.
It is cool. Like, even with this show, you have to think about, like, okay, schedule-wise, we want to make sure we're not doing the show on a Lions game or during a Lions. You know what I mean? Like, we always were conscious of that, but now Lions games are like events. They really are. And
I'm traveling to road games now. What is happening?
Yeah, with Arizona is the one you're going to, right? The 22nd of September?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's going to be so much.
Hopefully I can stay with Harry if he's anywhere around Arizona at that time. So
man, that's going to be fun.
Sunshine Spartan, what is the worst movie you have seen recently? Well, every single one Graham watches is awful. So we don't have enough time here.
Yeah.
I got to say, we haven't watched a real movie, but the Nickelback documentary, like, I get it. It's Nickelback. It should suck. But it was, like, interesting. And then it was like, wait, is this like I thought it was over. And now it's like a 3-part thing. Now they're just sitting at a bar drinking beer. So we, like, stopped it early. And it was just like, wait, what is happening?
I watched a movie that got panned by critics and even some audiences that I actually didn't hate recently. It's one of the Netflix movies that shows up in your formula. And my wife even was like, I don't really have interest in that. It was the Zac Efron movie with A Family Affair.
Téa Leoni.
No, it's hold on 1 second. It's what's her name? God damn it.
I'm dreaming, I'm guided to another world, time and time again.
Nicole Kidman. I don't know why I had trouble with that. Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron. It's actually not that bad. He plays the character well.
Wait, what is it?
Family Affair. He basically has he plays a movie star who's like this obnoxious movie star.
Steroids or something.
But he plays it well. He's actually a pretty charming character, and he has an affair with Nicole Kidman, who's 16 years older than him, and Nicole Kidman's daughter works for him, is like his runner and producer and things like that. Anyway, it wasn't horrible. I went in thinking it was horrible.
Do you hear that? It's people running to their TVs.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
to
that.
get their remote.
But it's one of those things. Put it this way: I've started walking a lot on the treadmill, right? And so I try to walk like 5 miles a day, and I can walk. You give me a full soccer game, I can get the 5 miles in. It's perfect. You give me a great tennis match, whatever. You get to this time of year, baseball doesn't work on a treadmill. It's too slow. The Tigers are too unpredictable. Maeda doesn't pitch every game. You got to have movies, and you run out of movies and series and things like that. And once in a while, you put on a bad movie, and this movie kept me going on the treadmill. So that's all I'm saying.
I feel like baseball would be torture on a treadmill.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
You know what I mean? Like,
especially if you're running. It's like they needed like a 4-second pitch clock. Nothing like it. That's the worst. Baseball's the worst on a treadmill. There's just not enough tension in the sport. 'Cause that's what you really need on like if you're watching Colombia versus Uruguay in soccer.
Oh God,
there's so much tension. They just had the Malice in the Palace Part 2 in soccer after that. You get guys going into the stands to protect their families from fans. I mean, that's the tension that exists in soccer and baseball. It's just, whatever.
Wow. Dick Schaap over here. Unbelievable. Joe Naughty, have you ever considered being William Zabka's stunt double? Heard it's a union gig. Good pay. Hey, I heard from a guy to never talk about unions in public.
Was that who? Was that
Doug
one of our...
Makala? Yeah, he's always told me, don't talk about unions.
I'm looking at William Zabka. I mean, he's not.
Who is it?
He's an actor. I would. It's the guy who was in Karate Kid stuff. As an adult, I could be. It could be worse. Like,
him?
Yeah. You know what? He played like the bad guy. And the jerk kid.
You'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. It could be so much worse. When people say you look like this guy, it could be
like the Prime Minister. What's the guy? The UK guy,
Boris Johnson. I actually don't think he looks bad. I don't hate that one either.
You don't hate it?
I
mean, it's not flattering.
I am an ugly fuck, man. I did not need. If it's not the worst, I would.
Right, but you're not as ugly as he is, though. Like, yeah, there are resemblances, but you know what I mean.
It depends on the weight. I can get to a weight fluctuation where it's, man. I told you this before. The story of Susie Merchant when I put on all that weight the first time she saw me.
Sure didn't, but do tell.
Okay, so this is the heaviest I ever was, and I won't give the weight, but it was. I've seen some
275.
I've seen the pictures, and it's not great. And a lot of it came in 1 year, like just boom. And Susie Merchant hadn't seen me since the previous season, and when I had been, at least a little more comfortable and decent looking, and not looking like this guy who was sweating just because had the meat sweats all day. Anyway, so I go out to interview her on the court after a game or something. I forget why she was on the. Whatever it was, I was on the court, and she turned and saw me, and her look like, whoa, was the most deflating moment of my life.
You've had too many donuts, mate.
Like, it was, I mean, she was just, she tried to play it cool because you don't want to say, holy shit, what happened to you? But that's what she said with her look and her response.
What year was this?
Like 2017-ish.
So how
17.
How much did you weigh? Let's be honest. Because I could only get up. I've been up to 260. I could never break past 260.
I have a big rib cage, so my weight is like put it this way: at 222, I would look chiseled. Okay, so that's so big rib cage. So keep that in mind. Like I was 222 at age 30 after doing Insanity, the P90X type program twice, and was really unbelievable shape. I would look amazing. And these days I weigh in the 250 range. I was like at 278 to 284.
Oh, man.
That's the highest I ever got.
We need a picture.
Oh, you've seen them probably.
Well, I know.
We're never
doing this, but there's no weight on them. I mean, there's pictures out there where like, Jesus, man. Like,
just Google meat sweats. And it'll
Dude, Susie Merchant rules. Yeah. You've never told that story before.
I have not? Okay.
Oh,
that is a story worth telling, actually. Presented by our friends, again, at Midtown Brewing Company, where you can have all sorts of healthy meals. They've got fantastic lighter meals that will keep you from having the meat sweats and looking like me in 2017. That's in downtown Lansing, unbelievable date place that your spouse or significant other will comment on just the character, the vibe. It is not a chain spot. It will feel like you're doing something special with them when you take them to Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing.
280 LBs?
All right, that's enough.
Dang. Ray Montoya, putting opinions aside, what is your gambler's take on this year's election?
If I was betting it,
it's like the Wimbledon. You can't bet it.
Yeah, I'd bet Trump is what I'd do if I just putting opinions aside. I mean, that's what everything polls say.
Bet. It was at minus 650 or something.
It's up there now. I don't.
Anyway, all right. Ray Montoya, where is the most inappropriate place where you've been drunk or stoned?
Question for you.
I mean, I did bring a 12-pack of beer to like a young kid's birthday party, like 5.
Was it only kids and you? Or
no,
were they like...
no. It was like my friend's kid.
Oh.
They had a birthday party, and I stopped by the store to get a 12-pack, and the chick I was dating at the time, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm getting beer. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's a children's birthday party.
That's what you're supposed to do at kids' birthday parties. To get drunk.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Fine. She was way out of line.
Yeah.
Especially like when they're like 1 year old, the whole point is like you made it, this kid's still alive, everybody get drunk and enjoy it. The kid's going to put cake in their face, Yeah. It's
right. Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe it was the amount.
Okay.
It was 12. Because I'm like, all right, we're going to be there for 3 hours, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It's probably enough beer.
For me, it's definitely church.
Oh yeah, I've been drunk there.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was in a
New Year or Christmas Eve.
I was in a choir school at St. Andrews, Scotland, in 1995.
Oh, wow.
And
white privilege.
Yeah, right.
Holy shit.
So it was actually in St. Andrews a week after John Daly won the British Open there in '95. And now
I'm intrigued.
So I went to St. Paul's Episcopal Church downtown Lansing, where every 4 years they took the high school choir to England. And you'd go for like 2 weeks and tour, and then you'd spend a week somewhere to choir school. And ours was in St. Andrews, Scotland. It was awesome. I was like 15. Show up, these these 18-year-old Scottish girls thought we were the cutest things ever. It was like a lot of fun week. And they all drink up there. They're already over. I mean, you only have to be 16. It's 15 with a meal. I hadn't really had anything to drink before. I hope nobody listens to this who's from that church, and they probably do. And if so, please, earmuffs.
They're drinking right now, I'm guessing.
And so, but they introduced it. We get drunk on the beaches of St. Andrews, and every night we would have to do something, perform at a service, and the choir robes and everything, and the choir was usually hammered. So there was that. Oh my God, I can't believe I told. I just now think about people who listen.
Young Graham, did young Graham have any success with the ladies at all?
18-year-olds?
Yeah,
I mean, probably more drunk as a 15-year-old American in Scottish soil than I did as a 17-year-old in American
I'd pay
soil.
so much for that video of you talking to them at that age. Be amazing.
Just getting out of a voice change, it was solid.
Talking about Andre Agassi with them. Shep, next. Graham, which of these discussion topics is your favorite? 1, the circumference of tall teenage boys' thighs. 2, creative ways to disguise gluttony from your spouse. Timely. 3, advanced defensive strategy for old fat guy pickup basketball games. And 4, the worst TV shows / movies ever conceived by mankind.
Yeah, I mean, these are 4 at the top. We could just do a whole show on these.
I mean,
4.
I'm sorry, number 4 is kind of bullshit. Did you hear his description of the Zac Efron vehicle? I mean, Jesus. Wait, he hooks up with Nicole Kidman?
It's not bad.
Oh. Couch on fire. Tigers should have swept 4 from Cleveland, but what kind of club has 3 players hitting under 200 in their lineup? Well, they're owed money, so we have to watch them.
Yeah. It's not great.
They're owed anything over $100, so
they're hitting a little bit better.
Our owner blows.
Yeah.
Couch on fire. What's the projected win total for the Tigers now? We thought 78 and 82 before the year started.
Yeah, I mean, they're 5 games under 500. The stretch gets tougher. Like, I think if I had to bet, it would be like, I don't think it'll be awful, but like 74 and 88, something like that. I think they'll finish. I don't think it'll be. So that would be my guess for a season. And it's 78.5 is I think the over under, which I have the over. Probably not going to hit, but I would guess it might be close enough that like if they got hot late and they do have series against, it depends who they trade and all that, but they have a series against Oakland and the White Sox, and who knows that they could not be completely out of hitting the over and once they get
just another reason to hate this team. Because there's recorded audio of us getting Tony Dombrowski excited about this team 2 months ago. Couch on fire. Surprise players for MSU football and basketball this fall.
Yeah, Montori Foster is the guy that, and look, he's been a part of the program. He's not like this complete breakout guy, but I think he's going to be better than people think. I just have a feeling that he's a guy who's going to maximize his year. So that'd be mine in football. In basketball, if I had to pick a surprise player, like a guy that people aren't counting on, give me. It's hard because everybody would be a little bit of a surprise or not. You know what I mean? Like nobody's proven. But give me Coen Carr.
Don't coach my team.
Give me Coen Carr as a guy who understands what he has to get done.
Yeah,
and getting it done to a degree where he is helpful on the court. And I also think their spacing with other lineups will help him this year. You think about last year, he was on the court with lineups that just couldn't shoot, and it just made it worse. But if he's on the court with 2-3 shooters at a time, he'll be fine. And I think he understands too what he needs to get done.
Good to have you on board. The Coen Carr train here. Some dude, Couch, you've seen Frankie Fidler play once in Moneyball. Can you comment on his NBA draft position?
Well, he worked out for NBA draft people this year. He entered the draft briefly. In terms of an NBA guy, the one thing Fidler has going for him that like Akins does not is Fidler actually has real NBA size. Like the guys who are getting drafted to play Fidler's position are Fidler's size. And he's a shooter. And so the question, can he defend the position? I don't know, and that's what you have to see. But I wouldn't say he's a no chance NBA guy just because guys who have size and skill and can shoot have a chance.
Some dude, how the Stallion story coming along? Jesus,
it's coming. It's still being worked on, man. This stuff is
welcome to the blue wall.
More delicate than
Windsor's on it. As soon as he's making you pancakes, he's going to get right on it.
Yeah, I mean it's. Put it this way, I know what happened. It's a matter of getting it sourced to the point that's responsible to report it.
Some dude, Jason, did you see that Neil Young and Crazy Horse all got sick after Pine Knob and canceled the rest of the tour? I was trying to see them in a different city. I did see that. Yeah, it even made it a bigger bummer that Vivid Seats screwed us out of seeing them. So
it blows.
You know, he's 83. He'll be back, right? Ken Chu, is Graham down for the poop trough?
He sent a picture. It's like a pee trough, but it's a toilet. And no,
it's not real.
It can't be real because pooping should be done in the most sacred private areas alone. Like it should not. I'm not a public pooper,
or in a dark stall in public.
Yeah, but they're very different to be pissing in a trough than pooping in a trough. I am not for the poop.
Steve, Jason, how many drops in your computer? Favorites? How quick do you have to be to find the favorites? Best ever? Fred from the Stern Show? Oh, best ever to play drops? Yeah, it's got to be Fred. Although Fred would play him like really loud sometimes and forever. It was just like, but yeah, he's a legend. How many do we have here? I think there's like 80.
Okay.
I think obviously the
them?
classics.
Don't coach my team.
That's what started it all.
Peacock.
That's Tony Dombrowski. That's one of my favorite. I think my favorite because it's just an inside joke.
Free Ubers.
I just love the way OJ said Ubers. Free Ubers.
Free Ubers.
So anyway, it's like an inside. I don't even think anybody thinks it's funny.
It's just you. Yeah, it's inside you.
No, it's
right?
not me. I mean, come on. That doesn't sound funny the way OJ. I mean,
no, I mean, but it's the joke is right.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't mind it. I think it's funny. Yeah, it was good. I felt all of Fred Human.
Like those are funny. People give me the timestamp and something like so like and lats and everything. Come on. There's about 80 of them. I don't have to be quick at all, as you can tell. Mike Scott, how can I get my hands on that smooth jazz soundtrack that plays for like 20 seconds before the theme song comes on? That's on YouTube, my friend. Vibrant Jazz. Just something to play because, copyrights and everything. You just want to play some nice, and it's fun. I just enjoy it before a show. It kind of calms you.
Gets you in the right mood.
Yeah. Mike Scott, can we start a fundraiser to get a video of Jason watching the whole Euro final with Graham on Sunday as you both devour groovy donuts and get baked?
I would love that.
When is it? When's the Wimbledon final?
Well, the Wimbledon final's at 9. It should be a great Sunday for everybody but me. So there's a Wimbledon finals at 9, the Euro finals at 3, and the Copa Americas at 8. That should be an unbelievable. And I would happily have Jason there. Now, Jason, to do this, would have to be with me at my in-laws in Muskegon. Now, thankfully, there is a Pure Options in Muskegon, so we may be on our way there. And also, I think we will be swinging by Groovy Donuts tomorrow morning to take donuts to our in-laws. Always good to show up at the in-laws with like a nice assortment. It just starts the day off on the right foot. But the problem with this whole thing is, it's Sunday is when this day is at my in-laws. This is like a great sports day in the summer. Nothing tomorrow, but Sunday we're going to Muskegon, and I from 3 to 5, I'm definitely watching the Euro final. I don't know how much of anything else I'm going to get to see, and I'm not happy about it.
So the in-laws have a TV set up for you?
I'm going to, if I say to her stepdad that I really want to watch a soccer game with you, he will be happy to watch it with me.
Nice.
Because he'll think, well, that's cool. He doesn't care anything about soccer, and allow Elizabeth to hang with her mom. I just worry the timing of, like, it's an official birthday thing. Like, is there a dinner? Is there a, it just, thankfully Elizabeth doesn't listen to this because I'm not going to convey these concerns to her.
Knows. Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's the other drop I like, Elizabeth's laugh. Tyler, other than accidents, hitting objects, or animals, what's the worst or funniest thing that's happened to you while on the road? One time we had to... What? One time we had to shit in the car on the bridge in Sault Ste. Marie in a big border backup.
Whoa. That's not good.
Like where?
What did you have? Like too much Taco Bell and fiber? What happened?
Yeah, but dude, you don't need that to have to go. I mean, but where do you go? Like, is there a cooler? Like, what do you drop a loaf in?
So what's the worst thing?
Dude, no way. You had to have the door open, right? Like what? How? I need more, Tyler. I need more details. Absolutely.
I do know. Coming back from Ontario with my Stratford, Ontario, with my mom and sister a year or two ago, we got stuck on the bridge at before customs and everything, and from Canada. Yeah. My sister had. I mean, she made it, but like she had to pee so bad that like when we this year were coming back, she would not have a sip of any liquid until we crossed the bridge. She was so terrified of like a backup on the bridge because she was in so much pain. So I've seen that. Worst thing that's happened to me on the road.
You're not topping this, Tyler.
No.
Shit.
No, this is.
I want detail. Man, Right, but what do you do? Like, I'm not sitting there faulting you because I've had to go before and there's been time, but like, you gotta. Wow, I've never thought about that.
I have peed in front of everybody on so in 2000, right after Christmas, December 27th, 2002. I am driving back to Chicago, final semester of college from Christmas, and have to freelance a high school basketball game in the Chicago Burbs that day. So I'm, anyway, stuck in traffic on I-94 as happens, especially at that time. Just like, you're not moving anywhere for like 2.5 hours. And of course, I had already had like 2 Diet Cokes in 12 minutes when I got on the road because I have no discipline. And so I just had to, it was like, oh my God, I can try and pee in a cup. I can do whatever. And I just signaled to a car. I pulled over to the side, and I walked up the bank of the hill and pissed behind a pine tree, and people were honking and cheering. It was bad, but I didn't feel bad about it.
Because they could see your mule?
Well, no, I was hidden behind a pine tree, and it was cold. So
is that technically peeing in front of people? You're just having your back to them.
Everybody knew what was going on, yeah.
I hope he's peeing.
But that's not the word. I've had a pretty blessed life on the road. I've never actually had to do that in a car.
Never had to drop a loaf in a vehicle?
Yeah, not great.
On a bridge? Joshy, who would win in a 100-meter race, Joey Chestnut or Usain Bolt, except both have to eat a hot dog before running?
It's still Bolt. Like, Bolt's a world-class sprinter. I would take Bolt, even if he had to throw up, I would take Bolt after 30 hot dogs.
If he had to shit in a car,
I'd take
whatever. Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
All right, Hans Jurgen, let's do one by one here. Pound for pound, he says. Steak or pizza?
Pizza. You?
Oh, it's pizza.
Yeah.
Never been a steak guy. Kevin Willis or Bruce Willis?
Both really long careers with a lot of good in them. But I got to go Bruce.
Yeah. Powdered donut or glazed?
Both. Yeah, both.
I like both, yeah.
A glazed is probably the winner, yeah.
Speaking of. Bob Gagliano or Jeff Comlo?
Who's Jeff Comlo?
I know. I remember Gagliano.
Hold on, let me
My dad used to yell at him. Off.
Let me see what we got here. All right. NFL quarterback fugitive dies in Greece in 2009. I'm going with
Jeff Comlo.
Yeah, I'm going with Comlo.
What did he do?
I don't know. He died in Greece in 2009.
Oh.
Just for that.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right. Kalamazoo or Marquette?
This is unfair to Kalamazoo, but Marquette is where I go now. It's definitely recency bias, but it's my happy place. So Marquette.
Rip Hamilton or Joe Dumars?
Well, this is tough.
Get out of here,
Dumars.
Joe D.
Dumars, peak Dumars. Yeah, for sure.
And the general manager. Gaylord or Grayling?
It's Gaylord because they have a Meyer.
Gordie Howe or Stevie I?
I never saw Gordie Howe play, so Stevie Y.
Yeah.
And in Blue Line, Stevie Y.
Still, though, Gordie Howe stories and stuff, though.
It's true.
Come on.
Stevie Y stories, though.
Well, I understand, but if we're comparing the two, and the guy's name is Mr. Hockey.
In terms of watching hockey, though, I don't know if I've ever experienced more excitement than 97, end of the, was it Game 7 or Game 6, whatever it was, Game 7, from the Blue Line. In second round of the playoffs against the Blues in overtime. And so I'll give it to CBY.
Cleavage or thongs?
Cleavage.
It's got to be thongs, bro. Dave Kingman or Rob Deere? I just remember Rob Deere would have over like 150 strikeouts a year or something.
Yeah, and somehow hit 40 home runs, though. He was
too young for Dave Kingman.
Yeah, I'm going to go Rob Deere.
All right, next one from Hans. Would soccer be better without the offside rule? I say yes, damn you.
No, it would be a ridiculous sport. People would be just
running around.
Yeah, no, it'd be a ridiculous sport. You need the offside rule.
All right. Next one from Hans. Give us your 5 best NBA players who are Spartan alums. Don't forget about Jumpin' Johnny Green.
All right, hold on. Give me some Hoff.
So number 1 is Jumping Johnny Green.
Yeah.
I am a passenger.
Peacock.
I stay under glass. I look through my window so bright. I see the stars come out.
All right.
Tonight.
I've certainly done the best NBA draft picks of all time. Okay, so here, Magic is 1, obviously. This is draft value. So I had Draymond 2, Zach Randolph 3, Steve Smith 4. No, I would go Steve Smith. So this isn't the right order. I would go probably Draymond, though, 2 at this point.
Do you put Zebo, though? With what, 1 year?
We're talking about what they did in
All
the
time?
NBA
Oh,
and the NBA, what they were. I mean, he was a really good NBA player for 17 seasons. So I would probably go Draymond Green, Zach Randolph, Steve Smith, Kevin Willis, 5. Jaren Jackson could get in there, and Jason Richardson, 7. Johnny Green, I have 8. 8 all time.
How dare you?
Yeah.
You haven't seen him play, obviously.
Yeah.
Hans Jurgen, if Jonathan Smith sees right through you, will you call him out or stay quiet to please your corporate masters?
Oh, the rage inside me. I don't think he'll do that, but it would be the end of us.
Oh, please, Jonathan Smith. Jake Hawkins, great running into you?
Yeah.
Okay, great running into you at Reno's North last night. What are your thoughts? That is the only Reno's left standing after Reno's East is going to become another One North location. Thoughts on the Irish pub on the west side reopening back up after being gone for 10-plus years?
Did run into Jake last night was running the trivia at Reno's North.
Nice.
Which is right near.
He does a great job. I didn't see him there, but it was a different bar.
Yeah, he had mentioned that you and Therese went up to see him.
We won.
No,
did he tell you that? He missed that one, huh?
He missed that, yeah.
We won.
No, it was great. Yeah, Jake does an awesome job. It was fun to see him. Reno's
he's the best.
North is right near where we used to play softball, so we often wind up there after games. But I will
How's
say,
the service?
I'm still waiting for my second beer.
Dude, it's amazing that they've lasted as long as they have with the service being as bad.
We actually had a great waitress last night, but it is nothing like the service, I will say, at Midtown Brewing Company or Front 43 and Cask Company. It's kind of weird that One North is taking over the other Reno. So, like all the MSU coaches shows and all the events that they always have at Reno's East, I'm guessing they'll still be at One North because that's that good space for it. But it's a good question. I don't know. That is an interesting story to find out. Irish Pub, which is right in my neighborhood, reopening after 10 years. Love it, love it, love it.
Are they doing karaoke? That's what we used to do.
At the Irish
used
Pub?
to do at Irish Pub, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah. Jake Hawkins, great column on Jaden Akins. What are some reasonable expectations for him this coming basketball season? 15 to 20 points per game, 10, 15 assists a game.
Whoa.
Do you think he could be a Big Ten Player of the Year candidate?
I doubt he's that guy. But, I don't want to. It will be interesting to see him in a different role and with the ball in his hands more and what he can create. I think 15 points a game is possible. If I had to, and he's averaged, 12 before, 13 almost. I can see him. I could see him at the 15-point mark for sure. 10 to 15 assists, I do not see. The one thing that'll be interesting too is now that he's not playing against bigger wings more often. If he's averaged about 4 rebounds a game, which is really good for a guard. It'll be interesting to see what those numbers are. What his shooting percentages are. If it's a higher usage rate, I don't think his usage rate will be that high though, because it's not going to be like Tyson Walker. They're different players. I think the ball will wind up in his hands a lot, but they're going to have spacing and they're going to have multiple options. And I think, Jeremy Fears will be the guy, or Trey Holloman sort of directing it and especially Fears. And, I don't know. Reasonable expectations. I mean, he wants to be the go-to guy. This is his chance.
Next one from the Hawk. Do you think Frankie Fidler will average double digits in points and rebounds in Big Ten play?
In points, yes. Rebounds, no. That's a lot of rebounds. I mean, you're talking, Antonio Smith, and the Xavier Tillman type numbers. No, but I think he'll get to the line a lot, and I think that'll help. But I would guess he averages 12 to 13 points for Michigan State.
Last one from Jake. Rico Beard said earlier this week on 97.1 that Aidan Chiles could have Kenneth Walker type of impact on MSU this season. Thoughts? And what are some challenges he's going to face in the Big Ten?
Thank you, Rico. Jeez.
What a take.
He's a sophomore and is a starting quarterback who's in his first year as a starting quarterback. I think he'll have a big impact because he'll be the starting quarterback, but I think there are going to be some growing pains. I think you'll see some flashes. I think his athleticism will bail him at times. I think he'll make some mistakes. But if you're expecting Aidan Chiles to come in and set the world on fire, I am. Great. That's not good for him.
I am.
I think
now that Rico said that, I mean, come on, I am.
I think there are going to be a fair bit of mistakes this year. I think he'll have some thrilling moments, and that's what you want. You want a guy who looks like he's growing into something and has a ton of potential, but he's a true sophomore. He's a young sophomore. I don't know when he turns 19, but he is not an old player. This isn't this isn't A.J. Hogard, who came into college at 26. This is an actual freshman, went through the regular 12 years of school and stuff, or 13 years, whatever it is. I think it's reasonable to expect that he'll show you some stuff, but that he'll also make quite a few mistakes, and some will be frustrating.
Finally, Upper Deck Jerk Guy. Who will disappoint the most? Who will disappoint the most based on their Moneyball hype up this year?
Well, who should we hype the most? I mean, who's left to hype?
Fidler.
Yeah,
It's Fidler. I mean, I'm not saying he'll disappoint, but it's possible that he could. Expectations could just inflate here, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, it depends who's being considered being hyped right now, I would say, because I actually think Fidler is going to be a good – I don't think he'll disappoint relative to that, because I also think while there's been some excitement and buzz over him, I think there's also relative understanding of what he is. You know, I don't – and I think he's also proven a bit more at the college level, and there's not going to be so much on his shoulders that he can't meet it. That's a good question. I don't know the answer.
Upper Deck Jerk Guy, based on the way you speak sometimes, it makes me wonder, are you in cognitive decline?
I think so. I don't think there's any question about it.
Every show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Upper Deck Jerk Guy, what would you say is your quiddity?
Let's make sure I got this correct.
It's
Inherent
sunlight.
nature or essence of someone or something. I'm just a fat guy who smells good. That's it.
Is that like you're taking someone's essence or like?
No, it's like your essence.
Yeah,
Right.
That's donuts. Jerk Guy, what would you say? Oh, I read that one. Upper Deck Jerk Guy, thinking about going to Cockermouth in Cumbria, Great Britain. Never been?
I have not. So, looking forward to going to Great Britain again in the next year or so, but I have not been to Cockermouth. I will put that on the list.
It's funny because that's cock in it.
Yeah.
All right, I just want to make sure.
Yeah. I got the joke.
All right.
We appreciate all of you, including Upper Deck Shirt Guy, for producing our show. Fantastic stuff, as always. We appreciate Groovy Donuts. Go to groovydonuts.com. Swing by either location, Lake Lansing Road in Williamston, Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing, or in Williamston, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thursday through Sunday. We appreciate, of course, our friends at Firekeepers and the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Download the app today. Bet the games we're betting. And Pure Options. If you're still listening to the show, chances are you've got several MGs in you. Go to pureoptions.com. Find the location nearest you today. We'll be back Monday with Hot Takes. Midtown Brewing Company, thank you as well. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch on the Roof.